MD Prepper here doing a comparison video between the Condor Matagi blade and the Cold Steel Bushman. I've had the Cold Steel Bushman, or several of these, for many years, and saw the new Condor Matagi, had to have it. Had it for a while, did a tabletop review of it. Well, now I've gotten out in the field and used it a little bit. I can actually compare these two with a fair amount of knowledge behind them. Let me go ahead and first say that I used fresh blades, brand new both. This was a brand new Condor Matagi, had not been sharpened or reprofiled or anything else, and I used one of my brand new Cold Steel Bushmans as well for comparison. I've got another Bushman that I've used and beaten up a lot. It's one of my standard carry blades, but it had some wear and tear on it, so I didn't think that would be a fair comparison, really and truly. So let me go ahead and start off with sizes here. Let's start with Condor Matagi. The size of the blade, 8.5 inch for the blade itself, 14 1/8 inch overall. Compared to the Cold Steel's 7-inch blade, it's only 1 inch different there, and roughly 12.5 inches overall, a little shorter than that, slightly. So overall, much bigger grip and handle here. I've got these start blade, and you can tell there's a little bit of difference overall. Its thickness and width seem to be the biggest differences in this blade. So moving along, the weight. The Condor Matagi comes in at 1.4 pounds, so that's pretty heavy for a fixed blade knife in my mind. The Cold Steel Bushman comes in at 10.7 ounces, so a big difference in weight. Much lighter on the Cold Steel. Moving along, the cutting with each of these, just basic cutting, a basic paracord and other vines and twigs and such. Both did fairly well, but for finer work, I think the Bushman did a little bit better, just because your hand and the blade edge are a little closer together for finer work. You've got this little choil here, if you will. That's okay, but that offset is just a little much. The grips, let me go ahead and say that I thought this felt okay with the paracord wrapping to start with. Now that I've gotten out and used it, I don't really like it. I'm just used to the steel, I think, and I think this adds too much thickness to the blade. I've got what you would call average size hands for firearms and knives and all. It's just a little too thick for me. So it's just a little much to get a full, firm grip on it for me, especially when I was Batani and doing other things with it, a more heavier use. So I could try and take this thing off, but I'm probably not going to, just because I'm trying to compare them apples for apples here, the way they show up. This is stock, and this is stock. Yes, I could wrap this one, I could unwrap this one, but with the paracord, I don't know if it's really worth it. Adds a little bit too much extra in my mind, so I think I like the rounder grips on the Bushman better. Moving along. Feathering for fire sticks. Definitely the Bushman. It was much easier to bite into the wood and shave off small pieces. Again, I think the largeness of this blade encumbered it a little bit. Could I make some feathering and stuff with this? Yes, but this was much easier, much quicker, better overall. Sharpness overall, the Cold Steel Bushman came in sharper, definitely, compared to this one. The Matagi was plenty sharp, but not as sharp as the Bushman. Again, straight out of the box, haven't been sharpened at all or messed with. Other tasks. Batani. This is where I was really surprised. I figured this Matagi would be a beast when it came to Batani. I had 6 pieces of wood to baton, all about the same diameter, about yay big, give or take, all from the same wood. Pulled them out on a wood pile. No differences between them overall. There was a few knots in some of them. I had 3 each to baton. 3 with this one, 3 with this one. Started with the same baton. I used them for both of them, and had trouble right out of the bat with the Matagi. Got stuck about 1/3 of the way down the wood. Had to hit on it real hard just to get a little bit of movement through. I said, well, maybe I'm on a knot, so maybe this isn't a fair comparison. Let me stop. So I stopped, moved on to the Cold Steel Bushman, went through the first piece of wood like a hot knife through butter, went through the second one like a hot knife through butter, went through the third one like a hot knife through butter, and then moved back to this one, beat on it a while longer. Finally said, well, shoot, let me pull this out in case there's a knot. Maybe this isn't a fair comparison. Put the Bushman in there, hot knife through butter, right through that knot. So moved on to the next one. Next one I struggled with this one for the second one. Did get through it, and the third one I struggled as well. Got about halfway through, gave up, and went back to the Bushman. I think the big issue here is the thickness of the blade and the contour on the blades themselves. The Matagi's got a 3mm blade in thickness, which is super monstrously thick. The Bushman is 2.5. I think the slightly thinner Bushman was able to baton easier because of that and the angle on the blades. I just think the Bushman's a better blade overall, especially for the price. Before I go on about that, though, let me show you the sheaths. Normally, I prefer the Condor rather, to the Cold Steels. If you've seen my other previous videos, here's the Condor leather sheath. We'll swivel on the back of it. A lot of their other blades have this. Thought I was going to like it. It's a nice looking sheath. It's very nice with the Condor emblem on there and all. Problem is there's almost zero retention with this thing. It's almost the friction on this to keep it in is virtually nothing. Now it is heavy, of course, so that's going to keep it in there, but if you've got this thing flipping either way, it's top heavy. This big grip with paracord and all is definitely heavier. If you try to weigh this thing out, the grips are heavier overall than the blade. You got to be back in here somewhere to offset. So flipping this thing upside down, as you see right there, it'll just slide right out. Now, is that a big worry? No, but I don't like the idea of my blade being that insecure generally. I've not seen that with a lot of the Cold Steel or the Condor lines for that matter for their sheaths. The old classic Cordura sheath here, or nylon sheath, again, good retention. Can it fall out? Yeah, if you beat it hard enough, but this isn't going anywhere. Plus you've got the extra side pouch there for attachments. So this sheath wins in this type of blade. Now I also have the new Secure X style in this, and that obviously is better than this one. So finally, price comparison between the two, there's no match. The Matagi comes in, at least from Knife Center, at about $44. The Cold Steel Bushman, in the format you just saw, came in at about $23. So that's about $20 difference between the two. You could almost have another Bushman for the price of this one. I used to like my Condor blades a lot. This one's been a bit of a disappointment, especially for the price point I paid. For $43, I don't know. If I had big bear paw hands and don't mind having to spend a lot of extra energy batoning through wood, this would be okay. There's nothing wrong with this blade. But for the smaller, finer tasks, it's just not up for the job as well as this one. Can you do it? Yeah, you can. I did, but again, with a lot of years of experience with the Bushman, this one still reigns supreme. Now, let me show you some of the wear and tear on these blades a little bit. And remember, these were both brand new. All this wear and tear is pretty much from the batoning. If you can see that right there, fair amount of wear and tear on the Bushman. But this batoned all the way through, or through most of the 6 pieces of wood, while this one only did like 1.5 overall. So, you know, got to take that into account. I cleaned this up a little bit, but that's what the Bushman looks like. And the Matagi looks a lot cleaner overall. See that? There is some wear on the blade down at the bottom on the finish. Don't know how well you can see that, but it's there. A little more pronounced on the back, maybe. A little bit of wear in there, wearing the finish off, but not real bad. But again, this didn't get a chance to bite through nearly as much wood as this one did. So, Condor Matagi, it's interesting. I like it, but it can't stand up against the $23 Cold Steel Bushman. Just my thoughts, guys. Indie Prepper out.